Welcome to another show today. We're going to look at the top 10 appearances of Spider-Man in animation. Combining both theatrical films and television series, these are the top 10 animated Spider-Man projects, blending modern masterpieces with iconic classics.
I'd like to see the doctor.
Your name?
Spider-Man. Achoo!
How do you spell that?
A-C-H-O.
The scepter of Osiris. Soon the demons of the spirit world will be mine to command.
Count of three.
If you think I had the power to do this, don't you think I'd order you to shower? Hello, we're both good guys. I'm not gonna fight you, you ferret.
10. Ultimate Spider-Man, 2012, an action-packed, fast-paced show geared heavily toward the younger generation. It features Spidey training with SHIELD, working with other teen heroes, and breaking the fourth wall. J. Jonah Jameson is voiced by J.K. Simmons, who previously played the same character in the live-action movies of Spider-Man. When the show was renewed for a fourth season of 26 episodes, that brought the total episode count to 104 episodes. This makes Ultimate Spider-Man not only the longest-running Spider-Man series surpassing to Spider-Man, the animated series that ran for 65 episodes, but also the longest-running series ever based off a Marvel comic surpassing to X-Men, which ran for 76 episodes. It's even the longest-running show Marvel has ever been associated with, surpassing the Hasbro animated series like G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, and Transformers, which ran for 95 and 98 episodes respectively. Drake Bell, who provides the voice of Spider-Man in this series, also starred in Superhero Movie, a parody movie based on the Sam Raimi Spider-Man series. Produced by the infamous Zaz team that gave us the first Airplane and the Naked Gun series.
Forgiveness isn't given. It's something you earn. Leaving the past behind doesn't freeze you, it doesn't.
9. Spider-Man, the new animated series, 2003. Also known as the MTV Spider-Man, this 3D CGI series was meant as a loose continuation of the 2002 Sam Raimi film. It featured the voice talents of Neil Patrick Harris and took a surprisingly dark, mature, and experimental tone for television. Since the series was developed for MTV, stories were free of censorship-marring kids programming. For the first time in a Spider-Man series, characters were allowed to die on screen and there was some mild language. The show was originally conceived as an adaptation of the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book. However, plans for the show changed when Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2002 movie proved to be a box office smash, and Marvel Enterprises crafted the series into a sequel animated series set during Peter Parker's college years to tide fans over until Spider-Man 2, 2004.
Have you seen the papers today? Somebody's been talking.
Somebody always does.
Michael Clarke Duncan reprises his role as the Kingpin Wilson Fisk from the Daredevil feature film. On this series, Harry Osborn has blonde hair, unlike the Spider-Man 2002 movie, where he had brown hair, or the comics, where he had red hair. A photo of his father, Norman Osborn, shows that he also had blonde hair, as Harry and Norman have always shared the same type of hair. Together with the Spectacular Spider-Man 2008, are the two only Spider-Man animated series not owned by Disney Entertainment. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man 2025 present.
Hey. Petey's always been a bit clumsy.
You know me, clumsy, Petey, Parker.
This newer, continuity-fresh Disney Plus series focuses on a newly bitten Peter Parker learning the ropes. With gorgeous cel-shaded 3D animation, it captures the struggles of being a neighborhood-level hero in a world with massive MCU Avengers. The show was first intended to be set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, and tell the origin of that Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland in the movies. It was later decided to be set in an alternate universe, with the show being described as an extended What If episode. And the intro and outro have several visual homages to original Spider-Man artist Steve Ditko's work. An example is the headshots of all the major characters in a spiderweb. The end credits feature collages of concept art for various characters. Some of the art went unused and is clearly different from the final product. In some of the art, Peter Parker's hairstyle resembles that of Tom Holland in the MCU. In the concept art page for Harry Osborn, one version resembles Fine Young Cannibals lead singer Roland Gift, whose distinctive hairstyle is similar to that of the comic book versions of Norman and Harry Osborn. Spider-Man Unlimited, 1999 to 2001,
What are you doing here?
I don't recall meeting you before, Arachnid. And what I am doing is protecting the innocent from criminal scum like you.
Commissioned as a spiritual successor to the 1994 series, this bold sci-fi show drops Peter Parker onto Counter-Earth to rescue a missing shuttle crew. It features a unique nanotech suit and an edgy Batman Beyond-style atmosphere. This is the only portrayal of Spider-Man Peter Parker that does not feature a speaking role for Aunt May Parker. She is only seen very briefly in the opening credit sequence. Although the series ended on a cliffhanger, an outline for the second season of 13 episodes was created and 6 scripts were produced but never animated. Further episodes of the series would have taken Spidey on solo adventures after he helped the rebels end the war with the High Evolutionary to restore peace to Counter-Earth and returned him to Earth. The series premiered on Fox Kids lineup in October 1999. However, the show was airing in the same time slot as Kids WB's Pokémon, 1997, and was losing in the ratings. As a result, Roland Poindexter, Vice President of Programming for Fox Kids, began altering the programming lineup after realizing Kids WB, commissioned as a spiritual successor to the 1994 series. This bold sci-fi show drops Peter Parker onto Counter-Earth to rescue a missing shuttle crew. It features a unique nanotech suit and an edgy Batman Beyond-style atmosphere. This is the only portrayal of Spider-Man Peter Parker that does not feature a speaking role for Aunt May Parker. She is only seen very briefly in the opening credit sequence. Although the series ended on a cliffhanger, an outline for the second season of 13 episodes was created and 6 scripts were produced but never animated. Further episodes of the series would have taken Spidey on solo adventures after he helped the rebels end the war with the High Evolutionary to restore peace to Counter-Earth and returned him to Earth. 6. Spider-Man, 1967 to 1970.
You're too late. He's gone.
Did he get the serum?
No. When I refused him, he drank a mixture of chemicals.
Marvel's first ever attempt to adapt the wall crawler into animation. While famous for its exceptionally low budget, recycled swinging loops, and hallucinatory storylines, it birthed the iconic theme song and the beloved internet-pointing meme. The theme song for this show was composed by Paul Francis Webster and Bob Harris. The theme song was recorded at RCA Studios in Toronto, where the cartoon was also produced, featuring 12 CBC vocalists, members of the Billy Van Singers and Lori Bauer Singers groups, who added to the musical backing track supplied by RCA Studios, New York. The singers were paid only for the session and have had no residuals from its use since then. The song became as synonymous with Spider-Man as his red and blue costume.
This is what I'm looking for. Once I unlock the secrets in this book, I'll have supernatural power.
This version of the Green Goblin is more like Stan Lee's original idea for the character. Lee's original synopsis for the Green Goblin had a movie crew, on location, finding an Egyptian-like sarcophagus. Inside was an ancient mythological demon, the Green Goblin, who naturally came to life. This was not used in the comics, because Spider-Man co-creator Steve Ditko changed Lee's idea and made the Green Goblin a human villain. Ditko was not involved with this cartoon, but Stan Lee was a story consultant. The lizard's origin in this cartoon occurs when Dr. Connor tries a swamp fever serum on himself. This is different from the comics where the lizard's alter ego is named Dr. Connors, and he experiments with lizard DNA to regrow his amputated right arm. The change was made because a severed limb would upset conservative watchdog parent groups. Grand Trey Lawrence Productions, the show's original production company, were on the brink of bankruptcy when the show had premiered and had to file for it in 1968 after season 1 ended. This forced them to hand over production for the show to Krantz Films Inc., a studio known as the home of Ralph Bakshi, who became the show's lead animator. With Ralph Bakshi in charge of production duties and a slashed budget, the show started to have a darker tone in season 2. The background images here changed to colorful paintings with a psychedelic look to them. Other changes included a greater focus on Peter Parker's social life, and there were less comic villains used and more generic green-skinned villains created. One notable exception was the Kingpin, who appeared in the second episode of season 2. Mary Jane Watson appears in The Big Brainwasher, which is her only appearance on this cartoon. On her appearance, she unknowingly gets a job as a go-go dancer for the Kingpin. It was stated that Mary Jane was the niece of Ned Stacy. Ned Stacy was a different character than George Stacy, who only made an appearance in the episode To Cage a Spider from season 2. However, George Stacy, as well as his daughter Gwen Stacy, appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 59, which was the basis for that EP7.
Looks like the killer gutted the victim, strangled him with his own intestines, and then dumped the body in the river. We're dealing with one sick son of a bitch.
You wanted me home to see a TV cartoon show?
5. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, 1981-1983. This campy, ambitious 80s staple teamed Peter Parker up with Iceman and Firestar. It holds a special place in Spidey lore for being the first animated show to heavily showcase the wider Marvel universe. Firestar was created exclusively for the show. However, her looks as Angelica Jones were based on Mary Jane Watson from the Spider-Man comics. Wolverine's appearance in this show has him speak in an Australian accent, voiced by Neil Ross, despite the character being from Canada in the comics. Wolverine also has an Australian accent and again voiced by Ross in Pride of the X-Men, 1989. In the live-action X-Men film series that began in 2000 and finished in 2020, ironically, the character is portrayed by the Australian Hugh Jackman. Dan Gilvezan initially read for the part of Spider-Man and got the role. After waiting to hear back from National Broadcasting Company, NBC, he was told by voice actress Sally Julian that they did the first session last week and that he had been recast. 2 weeks later, Gilvezan's agent called and said he was booked to voice Spider-Man because NBC wasn't satisfied with the person they chose after all. All of Spider-Man Peter Parker's lines in the first episode had to be redone with Gilvezan's voice added in. Originally, the Human Torch from Fantastic Four was going to be in the series with Spider-Man and Iceman. Licensing issues at the time prevented the use of the Human Torch, and so Firestar was created to fill the open spot. Firestar has similar powers as Human Torch, but doesn't have the appearance of being on fire. Despite this being considered a crossover series from Spider-Man, 1981, even premiering on the exact same day, it used a virtually entire different voice cast for the various main characters. 4. Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse, 2023.
My name is Miles Morales. I'm Brooklyn's one and only Spider-Man, and things are going great.
The visually stunning and emotionally heavy sequel that followed up the 2018 film. It raised the stakes for Miles Morales as he navigated a massive, society-altering collective of spider people across the multiverse. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller revealed that they told Sony the sequel would be the same size as Spider-Man. Into the Spider-Verse 2018, but it ended up having the largest crew of any animated movie ever with around 1,000 people working on it. They added that it has 240 characters and takes place in 6 universes. The various versions of J. Jonah Jameson are all voiced by J.K. Simmons. 3. Spider-Man the Animated Series, 1994 to 1998.
I've got 3 science papers due Friday. I have to study all night for a big exam, and I'm still batting 0 with Felicia.
Get ready, Scorpion!
This 90s classic shaped an entire generation of fans. Despite strict television censorship, which meant Spidey couldn't throw punches, it delivered highly faithful arcs including Sinister Six, the Venom Saga, and the Secret Wars. Once in a secure position, story editor John Semper made his first demand of the combined Fox-Marvel forces by making them buy him a complete collection of Spider-Man comics. Fox Network and Marvel Entertainment Group, or Marvel Films, had the idea that armed with 6 trade paperbacks, Semper was going to create a 65-episode series. However, he told them no, invested the money in the books, and they could use them for reference. Semper got his comics, and as 93 moved into 94, the story editor began researching more than 30 years of spider lore, building the foundation of this series.
Another illusion. Projected on mist.
You're catching on, but what is illusion?
2. The Spectacular Spider-Man, 2008, widely regarded by fans and critics as the absolute best narrative adaptation of Peter Parker. This series perfectly balances classic high school drama with intricate, long-form storytelling featuring Spidey's greatest rogues. A 3rd season was planned, but the series ended up being canceled due to the low television viewership for Season 2, after the show moved from the CW network to Disney XD, DVD sales not meeting their demand, and the television show rights reverting from Sony back to Marvel Animation. According to Greg Weisman, had there been a 3rd season, there would have been episodes that introduced the villains Carnage, Hydro-Man, Scorpion, and Hobgoblin. Norman Osborn's wife, Emily Osborn, also would have made her first speaking appearance, with Marina Sirtis in mind as the voice of the character. In terms of overall tone and style, the series is based principally on the early comic book stories by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, with a similar high school setting. This also takes inspiration from Ultimate Spider-Man, which also featured a teenage version of Spider-Man Peter Parker in high school, and was Marvel Comics' most popular Spider-Man comic at the time of this series' production. The role that Tombstone plays in this series is based off the Kingpin. The reason why the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, was not used in this series is due to the fact at the time he was being more recognized as a Daredevil villain, despite the fact that he originally started out as a Spider-Man villain and was not included in the rights to the show, as only Spider-Man characters were permitted. This cartoon is the first ever Spider-Man show to feature Gwen Stacy and George Stacy as cast regulars. Edward Asner, Uncle Ben Parker, previously supplied the voice of Jay. Jonah Jameson, the editor of the Daily Bugle, in Spider-Man the Animated Series. 1. Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse.
In your universe, there's only one Spider-Man. But there is another universe. It looks and sounds like yours, but it's not.
This groundbreaking movie revolutionized the animation industry by blending cutting-edge 3D visuals with comic book aesthetics. It tells the origin of Miles Morales as he unites with an eclectic crew of alternate universe spider heroes to save the multiverse. Stan Lee's final cameo. If you hit pause anytime a train goes by because all the animators wanted to animate Stan Lee, he's in almost every single train. It was announced shortly after Stan Lee's death, at age 95, that he had recorded a cameo for the film and that it would be his final voice acting role. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller felt it was important that Lee was given a bigger moment compared to previous Marvel films because he was so integral to the spirit of this movie and considered his role extra meaningful following his death. Completing the animation for the film required up to 180 animators, the largest crew ever used by Sony Pictures Animation for a film. This film was dedicated in memory of Spider-Man co-creator Steve Ditko, who died on July 6, 2018, while this film was finishing production. However, this was not the only dedication, as a month before the film was released, Stan Lee died on November 12, 2018. The film was dedicated to both of Spider-Man's creators. Nicolas Cage was excited that the directors let him have fun with the role of Spider-Man Noir. Cage says, "It's no secret that I like to play with different sources. It was fun to go back in time and pull back a little of that Humphrey Bogart essence." And Cage thinks that the movie will appeal both to the adults who like old movies and the kids who will want to learn more about them. Nearly a decade later, Cage would play a version of the same character in Spider-Noir 2026, produced by Cage and Spider-Verse filmmakers Amy Pascal, Phil Lord, and Christopher Miller. And that was our show for today. What do you think? Which animated version of Spider-Man is your favorite? Is there a version of Spider-Man not listed here that you think should be? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below, and while you're at it, I'd be honored if you subscribe to my channel, click the little bell to stay informed, and check out the Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter franchise also in the comments section. Until next time, this is Ted in for Kevin Given saying live long and prosper, may the force be with you, and keep reaching for the stars.